Feeling better?
Brie, what are you doing here? Where's Justin?
He's giving you space.
Why do I need space?
You don't remember?
Did I finish my shift? Did I close up the diner?
Why don't you get some sleep and we can talk about this in the morning?
Justin,
I'm going to take you home.
stay away from me. What happened? Why are you here? Tell me.
Leah, it's all right.
No, it's not all right. I was holding a knife, wasn't I? Did I hurt someone?
No one got hurt.
Please. What are you not telling me?
Leah, now's not the time.
I need to know what I did.
We are Si and Sophie. This is Coastal News, a home and away podcast, your weekly episode companion podcast for your favourite Aussie soap.
You heard Germany have legalised, what have they legalised? Marijuana for personal use.
Have they? I've missed this. Is that
So,
genuine? Genuine news?
Genuine.
Oh,
Genuine. It was
right.
on the news earlier. Not marijuana, cannabis.
Yeah. Did not know that. No. I think the news I read is a bit trivial because all I know about is obviously that the guy that died earlier, John Sabaden, who used to play Fred Elliott on Corrie. That was a bit sad. I saw that, and then I saw, what else did I see? Something about something else that's not, world news.
Well, you missed the drugs.
Yeah.
Then, yeah. So, any of our Germany listeners, let us know if you need to get high to listen to next week's episode.
Gosh.
Coming to a show.
Are we doing our next live from somewhere in Germany? Are we a live event? No.
No.
Bad idea.
Can you imagine? Can you imagine?
No.
Yeah. How are you? You okay?
I'm good, thank you. Yeah, long week. I've not slept very well, so I might be a bit crazy on here, but no more than normal. How about you?
Yeah, lovely, lovely. Thanks. I'm very glad it's Friday and it's podcast day. Woohoo!
Yay! Best day of the week.
Yes, absolutely. And it means the weekend starts. All the apps start coming out.
Yeah.
People get to hear our thoughts.
Yeah.
So,
sorry about that.
Always a brief overview of the week on Home and Away. You were messaging me saying it's been a top-notch week, actually.
I was loving this week. The last episode especially, I've watched 3 times now. And I'm just blown away by it. It was just great. Yeah. What about you? How do you think this week's gone?
Things are building, aren't they? It just feels so good right now. I'm enjoying everything that's happening.
Yeah.
Like all the little bits going on. I'm not thinking, oh, can't watch this. I mean, on the years I've been doing this, there's been certain storylines I've been fast forwarding through.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like, so I'm couldn't be further away from that right now. I'm into everything. I'm invested in everything.
Me too. Yeah, it's good. It's a good feeling.
It is. And I don't know about you, but the sentiment online as well is pretty similar. Everyone's sort of saying how good it is at the minute. Great.
Yeah.
This is good after last year. This is good.
This is good. And do you know what we've also noticed? There's been a massive lack of lyric, hasn't there? And does that correlate to the mood?
Yes, I think so.
Yeah, I think it does.
Yeah. But do you know what? We're still seeing these characters. They're just doing.
Oh yeah, they're just doing normal stuff. Yeah.
Which is fine by me. It's enough for me in a week. As we well know.
Exactly. Yeah.
Also, we must mention, Farney this week, you'll remember, won our 2024 mug giveaway and sent us a lovely picture. It's on my socials. The mug is in use. It's out there. Yes. The new mug, I must say. I'm still on the old one here.
I know, I am as well. I want a new one. What does a girl have to do to get a new mug? Come on.
Well, wait for the next competition because we do quite regularly.
Yeah.
You can order one. That's a new thing.
Yeah.
If you want to support the podcast, this isn't to this is to this is to the listener.
I was just getting the debit card out. But carry on. Yeah.
I'm here enough, aren't I? You can do. We have a buy me a coffee page, buymeacoffee.com/coastalnewspod. You can do a little donation if you want, or you can buy a mug. Why not have a mug out of it? And it's not. We're not monetizing. When I say we're not into the monetizing thing of this, but if you do want to show your support, you can do. It's an option. We're not gonna upsell you or anything like that. It's we're not going to charge you.
Optional extra, yeah.
Or you can just wait for the next one. We will give one away free at one point. And if you keep entering enough of them, you'll win one eventually. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
And also, there are results of our latest battle with the guys over at the Neighbourhood Rewatch came out this week. And to say it was a shocker, bit of a statement, because you won, guys. Like, Brax and Charlie won. We're first place on the votes. Most votes I think we've had yet doing any of these battles, which is phenomenal. Thank you so much for getting involved. I know we plugged it a lot.
We did.
You obviously came out in your droves and we took home that one. So it's 2-2 now. It's like all to play for again.
Oh no. Yeah. Forgot that bit. That means we've got to do another one. Damn it. Nobody wants to lose this battle, do they?
I know. I don't know about those guys. I'm sure. I know they've told us they enjoy, but we're really enjoying hearing all the madness that goes down in Erinsborough. Yeah. And getting to know the other side, the dark side. But also, it's really I'm enjoying sharing stuff from here because you read up and you reminisce and you remember things and you look and you go, oh my god, when that happened and that person did this. So we're really enjoying that. So keep your voting. We'll let you know when the next one's on its way. I know next month's a busy month because we are live in Manchester next month. If we told you 3 weeks to go, and JK and Adam from the Hayward Rewatch will be there doing a home and away quiz. So actually, we'll be able to test them, see if they've been listed, see if they picked up any. But no, they are quiz masters, so it will be being tested with the other guys that are there. So that's going to be fun, along with the murder mystery game. Like, what a good day! Yeah. So that'll be exciting. It's all happening. It's all happening.
No wonder I'm tired. It's good though. It's good. Keeps us on our toes.
It is good. Right. So we've said this week has been really good. We've enjoyed it. You've watched it 18 times. Do you want your headlines?
I do. Yes, give me.
Leah finally seeks help for her demons after using a knife to defend herself. Remy urges Bree to look forward as they mark a year since her ordeal with Jacob. After a few choice words from Mr. Stewart, John is back where he belongs at Summer Bay Surf Club.
Yay!
Mackenzie's recovery has an unexpected setback. And Tane has bagged himself a VIP meet and greet ticket to Felicity's apology tour.
Please take the time to like, subscribe, and review Coastal News wherever you source your podcasts and ensure you never miss an episode.
Right, you'll remember we left last week on that edge of that cliffhanger and the edge of your seat, Sophie. Leah, she's in the diner and she's waving that knife about, isn't she? And she's screaming blue murder at Justin. Saying, you're not taking me to Vita Nova. And she's having some sort of psychosis, isn't she? Remember, she barricaded herself in the diner. She's picked up the knife. He's got the crowbar. He's jimmied his way in. And That crowbar's kept me up at night. I'm like, why would you put a crowbar there?
I know. Don't.
And he's trying to talk her down, isn't he? And she's hysterical, and his presence there making the situation 10 times worse. She's not doesn't trust him. She doesn't see him as her fiance or ex-fiance, her life partner. Let's go with at the moment, whatever it is they're doing. Theo arrives in the nick of time and he's like, what the hell is going on? There seems to be a common theme with Theo. He just seems to walk in through some midweek meltdown a minute and it's like, oh, what's happening?
Yeah.
And he ends up secretly messaging Bree because Justin's like, if you get the police here, this is just going to be bad. This is going to be bad. I don't want any police involved. Not to mention there's hardly any police left at the moment because they've all either on bad at
And also,
or lost their job.
She was fed up with Rose before all this kicked off, wasn't she? So seeing Rose come through the door is not going to make the situation any better, I don't think, is it?
Yeah, and also she didn't trust Rose either.
No,
you know,
exactly.
back at the police station last week, it was a bit like, you're all against me, you're all trying to get me to, you know, when they were trying to get her to go to the doctors. So
yeah.
I think that you're right, Rose turning up would have been even worse. So he secretly messages Bree, which I thought was a bit random when he first did it. But actually ended up being the life-saving thing we all needed, because Bree comes along very calmly, like she's dealt with this a lot. People who die with a knife. And goes over it all. And I mean, she's got the voice for it, I will say. What did we call it when it first arrived? A voice. I don't repeat it. I don't. Got more listeners.
You called us
sex bot dog. Sorry, yeah, that was they were bad times. Yep. But the voice is very soothing, very soothing, and it calms her down. She says she convinces Justin to leave, and he's like, you know, I love you, Leah. You know, I won't come home tonight. And Theo takes Justin off, and she takes Leah back home. And there's this gorgeous scene. I don't know what you felt about this scene. My heart was in two here. Theo's driven Justin back to the share house, hasn't he? And he's arranged with the band that they can stay there. And they sit and chat in the car before they get out. And he's in absolute disbelief, poor Justin, at all this, isn't he? He's like, how can I have let this happen? Totally blaming himself. And Theo's sort of, he's just, you know, this wasn't her. You know, this was somebody else. You can't tell yourself that this was your love of your life, basically.
No. Yeah.
That scene touched me. It really did.
You just see how heartbroken Justin was. You know, when he said she was scared of me, you know, like, we know that Justin isn't scary at all, is he? I mean, I mean, backtracking a little bit, he did absolutely deck somebody about a year ago, didn't he, when he got angry? But to Leah, to his family, he's not a scary person. He wouldn't touch a hair on her head. We know that. He's a big softie, but it must have killed him to think that she was that scared of him that she had to get a knife and pull that out. I mean, that would be horrible. It would be horrible to be on the receiving end of that from someone that you're in love with, wouldn't it? It'd be awful.
Absolutely, yeah. And you'd be shocked.
Yeah.
And then you'd have the adrenaline, and then you'd have the confusion, and then afterwards, when when you've been separated, you'd have the questions around it. I think James played this phenomenally.
He did.
Like,
I
watched it back a couple of times, and I thought that you could not have played that any better. You know, like, you cannot critique the acting in that way. You really can't. And it makes you sit and think, and this just isn't Home and Away. This goes for ourselves. The craft, the work that goes into these shows is criminal when it gets overlooked. It really is.
Yeah.
And this was one of those moments that brings it home to you. You know how much goes into it. I mean, I'm over at the in Morgan House. We've got Leah and Bree there, haven't we? And simultaneously, they're having their sort of heart to heart, and we learn very quickly that Leah's like, she's blacked it all out. She's blanked it out. Like, she doesn't remember. She doesn't remember what she's just been doing. She has little flashbacks, and she's thinking, you know, she remembers bits here and there, and she's like, what have I done? What have I hurt anybody? And Bree's like, you can see the cogs turning behind the eyes, can't you? Like, oh
Yeah.
my God.
Yeah.
She doesn't remember it then. And
No. That's scary, that is, isn't it? When you've got no memory. It's almost like, when you get so blackout drunk and you wake up the next day and you've got hazy memories of something happening, but you can't really piece it all together. It must be like that. It must be really scary. Being like, imagine holding a knife and not knowing what you've done or what's happened or why you've done it. I think Ada's done a brilliant job with this storyline as well.
yeah,
Really, really good.
yeah.
Not
It's
an
in-
easy storyline to do, I don't think.
I don't think any mental health is it really? I
No.
think, and it carries with it a sense of responsibility as well.
It does.
And that there is a risk. I would be, if I was an actor on one of these shows, there would be a risk to me thinking, are we sensationalizing this? Are we?
Yeah.
Of course you want sensationalism. This is ultimately the purpose of this is to entertain, but also soaps have a responsibility to inform and educate as well. So this was honestly one of the best episodes we've had yet today, this year. I'm just like, couldn't stop watching. You're right as well, because this isn't the only soap that has had this sort of storyline this week. There's sort of been a similar one over in EastEnders.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I've been reading online as well a similar one in Emmerdale. It's quite funny how it's happened on the same week. That like 3 of the big soaps have this sort of female at the center of a mental health story. And it was interesting to sort of compare, especially EastEnders, because we watch EastEnders, don't we? But to compare the two, so many similarities as well. And I don't know, you end up sort of analysing, especially at this level on a podcast, but you end up analysing everything, don't you? And I just don't think they could have done anything better. I really don't.
No, I think they played it really, really well. I think watching it back as well, I don't think I appreciated the first time. When she was at the garage and she was listening to Justin on the phone, and his voice was like saying things that he wasn't actually saying because he was hallucinating it, and he was flipping that spanner or that wrench or whatever he had in his hand. And I hadn't realised the first time I watched it that it was actually a pen that he was holding. And she'd hallucinated that as well, because every now and again it would flip back to this blue pen, and I thought, what's going on? And then I realised he's holding a pen, but she's seeing a weapon. It took me a minute to work out what was going on. It wasn't until I watched it back, and then I thought, oh, it's just flipped back to a blue pen. That's really weird. So there's even little subtle things that I missed it last week. It's only because I watched it again this week. Because obviously we watched that episode last Friday on First Look, didn't we? And then I think I rewatched it on Monday at 6, and I was proper watching it. Then I wasn't tweeted or distracted. I was watching the scene, and I thought, that's a pen. Oh no, it's not a pen, it's a weapon. And then that's when I thought, hang on a minute, there's more to this. I need to keep an eye on this, because I might be missing other things that I'm not seeing. That's subtle like that. Yeah, really good.
This, though.
Really good.
This is great for you and I on something like this to pick it apart and did you notice that? They're absolutely fantastic for us. So well done, all involved. The acting, the writing's been superb. The stuff they're doing on screen as well, and the direction, like chef's kiss.
Yeah, really good.
All the flashbacks and stuff. Now, ultimately, Leah's had a bit of a wake-up call here. She's like, look, I need to go away. Justin and Theo come round the next day, don't mean she's like, just tell everyone I'm struggling, I need to go away. Now, this clinic, they're calling it, isn't it, that she's gone to, is no contact. It's intense.
No phone.
No phone. Yeah, like Justin can't even go with her. He can't visit her. So now we're left with this Justin, who is in absolute bits, trying to get on with some sort of life, while his girlfriend, his fiance, is away and locked up and getting help. And like, I don't know. I just think there's more to come here. More of this heartache, this stuff that's getting us in the gut to come.
Yeah, Yeah, definitely. I don't know where we're going from. I don't know how long Leah's not going to be in the show for. Do you know what I mean? I don't know whether it's going to be weeks or I don't know. And obviously Justin's really struggling without her, isn't he? We've seen a few times this week. He doesn't really know what to do with himself, does he? He's like, he said, just Theo's gone to see his mum, and then Justin's trying to throw himself into work, throw himself into stuff with Kirby, and he's just feeling a bit lost, isn't he, without her?
I'm surprised. There was one because he had a bit of a chat with, he has these little nice chats with Alf. I was thinking, how has he even got out of bed? Because I don't think I'd have been able to.
No, yeah.
I
guess he's trying to keep himself distracted, isn't he? Just keep yourself busy and not being able to talk to her must be awful. Live with someone and talk to them and see them every day, and then not be able to even text or.
It's torture, that, isn't it? Absolute torture. Not even just to check in.
No,
maybe that will change as we go on. She goes through her recovery. But such an important story, very well done. Enjoyed it for all the right reasons. Now, somebody who held it together throughout all this would, Bree said, was a phenomenal during it, and sort of managed to diffuse it all and ultimately get Leah the help she needed. But the second it was sort of done, she crumbled. And absolutely perfect touch. One thing some people criticize Home and Away for not doing, so I was clapping, like I was physically clapping when it happened, because I was like, yes, we can tell the naysayers. Was refer her to her own story, like, of course. And I was brought right back then. And it's 12 months since Jacob, her abusive husband, and that whole kidnap, that whole shovel to the head thing. And I looked at our episodes on the pod. I was like, oh my God, it is. So I was like, we're right back there again. And of course, that's not left her just because she's had a few counselling sessions and the storyline's moved on. So of course, something like this is going to bring that up. And I'm so glad it did in the weird way.
I think it's took me by surprise, because I think, the other week when we were talking about her visiting Remy's parents and they were talking about Jacob then, and I said to you, I was like, why are you bringing this up now? Because I think I've got so used to not referring back to things that have happened on Home and Away. As you say, I've got used to someone leaves and we don't talk about them. Something that happened last year, we don't, something else could have triggered a memory of it and we don't mention it for some reason. There's loads of things like that on the show. And I think I was genuinely surprised, and it took me by surprise, and she's had several scenes where she talked to Xander about it and said it's been a year since Jacob. She talked to Remy, it's been a year since Jacob. And I think it's really good, but it has genuinely surprised me because we don't do this. And I wasn't expecting it. You know what I mean? Even I was like, what? Why are we mentioning Jacob? Oh, right, it was a year ago. But we don't do this on Home and Away. I was genuinely surprised, but it is, as you say, a good surprise. I want to see more of this. I'd like some more of these stories to be stitched together a bit more. We know the history. Everyone watching the show knows the history, and if you look at Facebook or Instagram or Twitter, anything, people are going, well, what about this? What about that happened? Why wouldn't she mention it? It happened. It was only last year, or it was only 2 years ago, or whatever. We never forget. And I think you're right. I think it was good. I wonder if this is a change, like a sign of a change, that we're going to get more of this in future.
It could be. I think because I went back and listened to a couple of our episodes of the podcast around this time last year, just to sort of get a sense, just to re-jog my mind, just to sort of get a sense of the weightiness of that storyline. Another very important storyline, and we were lapping it up. We were saying how great they've done this, that he's really scary, and she's this sort of little mess who's out and can't control anything, and how's she going to get out of this? And I think those things don't leave you, and it's really important to show that to people, that that was she killed him, in the most brutal way you could.
and horrifying, because she was lying there watching him dig a grave. I mean, how do you get past that? Even if you don't kill someone, that's traumatizing enough without everything else. And it's so important that she's saying, I need to go back to counselling, I need to start counselling again. And we've seen her put in sessions, and she's had that conversation with Xander saying, you know, he said, well, why is it so hard? And she goes, well, because I've still got work to do. And he goes, yeah, exactly. And I think that message is so important because it is a soap and we do have to move things on quickly. We don't want things to drag on forever and ever and ever. But it's a really important message to say that you don't go to one counselling session and all of a sudden you're fine. That's not the reality of it. And you do have to take the time and put the effort in. And, you know, it's not a quick fix, unfortunately. It's just one of those things. But to see that on Home and Away this week, I think that's, I don't know whether I've seen that before. That whole I'm not fixed and I need to go back and go to counselling.
Sometime late, sometime after the fact, you know, not just during that storyline cycle. I was really pleased, like you, pleasantly surprised that we did that and went back there. At first, because I was trying to be critical of it, trying to be sort of analytical, like we do with the podcast, like devil's advocate hat on. You know, oh, we're just rehashing something, you know, but actually no, like that. But what I learned from it is like now she's got the tools to know.
Yes.
You know, Remy's saying things like, what you're looking back for, you need to look forward. And she's like, gotta look back. It's part of me.
Yeah.
You know, like that doesn't leave you. Very important. And like, I agree. We needed it, didn't we? So she's back at counselling. And that's why they were talking about him the other week. There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. Right, Irene drops into Salt for a pizza randomly this week. I don't know what that was all about.
She's never in there, is she? I thought that was weird.
Not unless John's paying. It's too much food, you see.
She goes for a meal, doesn't she? But you never see, because obviously it's a bar. I know it's a restaurant, but really it looks like a bar, doesn't it? It looks like a nighttime venue that you go for a drink. So obviously Reenie's not going to be in there, you know, recovering alcoholic on the wagon. She's not going to be in there. So when I do see her in there, I am a bit like, oh, Reenie. It is a bit jarring.
She's not going to like clock off from the diner and go and get takeaway pizza at an alternative joint in town. And she's going to take home food from the diner.
Exactly. Or cook her own. She's sick of seeing Moussaka or whatever.
Turns out it was a non-event anyway, because she was only there just so she could see Dana and John having their thank you dinner.
Business meeting.
One course, one alcohol beverage, tax deductible.
Tax deductible business dinner. He's so Palmer. He hasn't changed, has he?
No. Well, he did for a while. We were like, oh, he's flashing the cash, but I thought, oh, he's back.
Well, he's obviously declaring it all to the tax man.
So funny. He is just what we needed actually after the whole Leah knife abuse thing. So we needed a bit of light relief. So that him wheeling John. But you remember Dana went into bat for him last week with the committee. You remember?
Yes. Yeah.
So this is what this thank you dinner is all about. So she has a bit of a yarn with them, and then Irene off she goes with the pizza, and I think we assume she ate it. We never went back for Irene in a pizza storyline.
I wish they'd have shown her just on her sofa with her feet up eating pizza with her hair a mess. Pajamas on, watching a true crime documentary. Oh, I'd love that. That's what she's doing.
They need to break the fourth wall, and she had to be like, I need thanks Darl, I've got my pizza, I just need to get home. Oh, it's nearly 7, I'm gonna miss my favourite soap. Whatever.
Yes.
There's very few moments, isn't there, in sort of Soapland where they do that, where a character watches a soap. Anyway.
Yeah.
Next day, and Rue, she basically shows him the Bible. Do you remember the Bible last week?
Bible. Of course I do. We've been screenshotting it and putting it online all week. Because it's hilarious. The list of names.
Name a few. By the way.
Maureen, biologist. Marine biologist. Peg leg, you like that
Peg
one.
Leg. Yeah, these three sit.
Rita book. Anchovy. Subaru. You know what I did like? There was Share House, which is obviously where Eden and Remy and that lot live, and then there was Pierre Diner. I was like, we've got sets listed on here as well. It's brilliant.
It was fantastic.
Loved
Well,
it. If you've not seen this, go and have a look at our socials, because we've put this. There's a list, isn't there, in the book that Rue shows him, of all the people that have done their bronze medallion, and John's taught them, and they've gone off to do amazing things. And he tells us about, I think he tells us about the two people on the list have got normal names, Lynn someone and Tim someone, I can't remember. But then the rest of the list of the names is hilarious, isn't it? It's just so funny, and it's on our Twitter and our Facebook, I think, as well, isn't it? So we've shared it. It is hilarious.
Tim and Lynn sound like the funniest ones.
Lynn's a right success. You know, she's off. She's heading up the surf club in some other place down the road. So yeah, success story. Good on you, Lynn.
Good on you, Dal. So this reinvigorates him, seeing all these names, and reminds him of all the good work he's done at the surf club over the years. And he decides.
Flem. Sorry.
Oh yeah, that was one.
Flem. Flem's parents are cruel. Sorry, it's too funny. Oh dear.
He decides John is going to circumvent his ban from the surf club and the fact that he doesn't work there anymore. He's going to set up his own surf club awareness course, surf awareness course on the beach. Surf Safety School, loves an alliteration. SSS, Surf Safety School. Doesn't need the club. He's going to do it himself on the beach, public beach. I'm thinking, I'm sure there's going to be some sort of insurance things, but let's just overlook that for a minute. Rue gets wind and she looks devastated. It's all over her face. I was thinking, oh my God, she's realised she's going to have to actually do this job.
She's got to put a shift in for once.
She was just placeholding it, weren't she, until he got out of his marge.
Yeah.
And she's like, oh my God, he's not coming back. Don't worry though, because Mr. Stewart won't let him put a flyer up on the on the bulletin board in the surf club. Has a good strong word with him, says, basically gets him to take his job back. And tell me straight, any history with this Simon Henderson fella, I need to know now. And he's like, nope, I promise you I've not wound him up. So Alf goes and meets Simon Henderson. What did you think of Simon Henderson? It's not what I thought he was going to appear.
No, I don't know what I was expecting, I'll be honest, but he was quite charismatic for an extra 20-minute scene. I think I quite liked him, even though I suppose I'm supposed to hate him, aren't I? I'm supposed to not like him, but I wouldn't have minded if he was in the show long term. He seemed quite interesting to me.
Well, I want to know about him and his son's relationship and why it's broken down.
Yeah, what's going on? Why did you call him Banjo? Like, was that at the start of the relationship going sour? I need to know. I was intrigued by him in a weird way. Were you?
Yeah, I was. I was, because I'm thinking Banjo's just hippie type.
Yeah.
He wants world peace man. And he's got his little push bike, and his dad was like a suited and booted businessman. Like they just didn't seem like. I'm like, how are you so different? What's the story?
What's Mum like? Yeah.
Yes, and what's the clash? What does that clash look like? We're not going to get it because that's not the story. But I want it. But I didn't mind Simon Henderson, to be faar.
I was expecting to hate him, so I thought he was going to turn up and be like really shouty and angry, and John Palmer's a galah, and he can't teach my son. He wasn't. He was quite reasonable, and he looked a bit deflated. I actually kind of felt sorry for him.
I did a bit. Yeah, the actor sort of brought that sort of side to him, isn't it? In his delivery. I don't think we've heard the last of him. I don't think we'll see him again, but I don't, things weren't left very well. Al sort of said, I'm putting my foot down and I'm reinstating Palmer. Everything, like he can teach and everything, and I don't care what you say, I'm president, you galah. And and he's like, well, we already know he's the biggest sponsor of the surf club, and it's been mentioned a few times that the reason they're in this situation because of his complaint is that if he pulls the funding, the surf club's in trouble. So I have a feeling we're going to have some sort. Yes, Alf took a phone call on Friday.
Yeah.
And it was what didn't sound good.
No.
It and he called it committee business again. So I feel like next week we've got some budget problems, some funding's being pulled. Do we have some sort of? Do you remember last year? And I was like to you, I really want some big community storyline.
Fundraiser or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Save the Surf Club. Oh my God, that would be so good.
It would be good. Yeah. Yeah.
But John could lose his job anyway at this rate. Because we might.
They're gonna pull it out the bag. There's just gonna be some drama in the meantime. I think because they've had such good PR recently, the Coastal News, have had a front page article.
You're welcome.
Online article as well with Mr. Stewart talking about the history of the surf club and how long he's been there and his lifetime achievement award and all that. That's really good PR for the club, and I don't see why we can't just get a new sponsor. It's very flippant approach by me, I'm sure, but there must be other businesses out there that they can get sponsorship money from.
They will, but there'll be a bit of peril in between, won't there?
Yeah. Do you remember Macklin back in the day? Was it Macklin?
Oh, yeah.
They were like a property developer. Unless this Simon Henderson is from Macklin.
No, he's from Yabby Creek Real Estate or something.
Oh yeah, that was it. Yeah.
Weren't they trying to take over it back?
Yeah, they were trying to like knock down the hotel and build like a big resort, weren't they, at one point? Macklin. I'm sure Macklin were like the baddies in the storyline.
Were they the ones behind the Sands Resort?
I think they were. Yeah.
And it was gonna kill the town, wasn't it? And all the tourists and everything.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, something like that. Can you imagine Summer Bay with no surf club? They'll be up in arms, won't
Exactly.
they? So, yeah. We can't have the beach with no flags between the flags.
Between the flags.
What would happen? Would the beach have to close? No. What would happen if there was no?
Well, that's the thing. You can't really close the beach, can you? But it would just be really unsafe because there'd be nobody. Well, unless they got volunteer lifeguards that do it for free. But then there'd be once their training's out of date, because I get the feeling that you have to keep, redoing your training and it expires. Because they were talking about the gold medallion people, weren't they? And how their training comes to expires in a few months, and they've got no trainer to train them or whatever.
Yeah.
So I think it's like when you do a health and safety course, you get it for like a year or 2 years, and then you've got to retake the exam because it expires.
Yeah, you get that email, don't you, saying your GDPR email. E-learning needs redoing.
Yeah, it's all your health and safety stuff, isn't it? So it's probably like a 2-year window where it's like your certificate's valid, and then you've got to take your test again. So that even if they had the volunteers working for free, they'd still have to take their tests. They'd have to go to Yabby Creek and take it there, I guess.
This is all good awareness, though. Beach safety awareness. We had the defibrillator recently. This is all good lessons. Get that big stick out. Come on.
Yeah.
I'm expecting slip, slap, slop in a couple of weeks.
We haven't had that for ages.
I know,
we haven't had a skin. Yeah, we haven't had a skin safety thing for ages, have we?
Everyone's time to fake these days. No one sunbathes.
Everyone's got a factor 50 on, haven't they? Because they want to look young forever.
And then they just spray it on the week before Marbs. True. It is. Right. Levi, he's back in town this week and he's telling Mac things are looking good.
After your scat. I still can't believe you thought it was scat. Every time he said scad this week, I wanted to text you. Did you hear what he just said? He said scad.
Oh, it's the accent. It's the accent.
It's the Crocodile Dundee twang. Yeah.
Sitting there with a cup of tea watching all the way thinking, he's just scat in bed.
I love it.
Like,
you look really good for someone that's just had a scat. He actually said that. Oh dear.
Like, she does, to be fair. I was thinking, yeah, she does.
She does. Oh dear.
SCAD. It was a SCAD.
Scad,
Heart attack to the simpletons amongst us who can't hear anything. Now he's so short. He even turns her cardiac machine off in front of her.
I think that's because she was panicking. Did you see that scene? She was like cradling her. You know, you get a call button in hospital. Like if you've got a problem, you can call the nurse by pressing the button, whatever. She wouldn't let go of it, would she? She kept cradling the call button. I was thinking she's really, really anxious, and she kept looking at the machine and looking at her heart rate and just, am I okay? Is my heart? And that just makes you more anxious, doesn't it? It's going to make you have palpitations because you're going to be worrying and you're going to be raising your blood pressure by worrying. So I think he turned it off because he was like, this is not helping you.
Well, she's even audibly saying, "I can't catch my breath," and you're just like, yeah, because you're
terrified.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm not dismissing or diminishing it. Like you can absolutely, I would be.
Yeah, I'd be absolutely terrified. I wouldn't trust it either. And I'd be like her. I'd be looking at the machine going, is my heart really working? What do the numbers mean? Look at my charts. Tell me I'm okay.
Am I gonna scat again?
Yeah. Oh, you God. What are you like? Oh, no.
And she even says to him, like, this isn't me, like, this is completely irrational, like, what's happening to me?
I'm strong.
I am woman.
Yeah, exactly.
I am invincible.
Exactly.
Now later she does get the lowdown about who Levi actually is. I didn't even realise it. I just didn't know who it was from Kirby, who visits.
Kirby, drooly face.
Yeah.
Levi!
Xander's so funny. Xander, how has he gone from this dorky one who Deliveroo tattoo to one of my favourite characters? He's a fast. What do you think about him? He's honestly, he's ahead for me. He's fast becoming one of my favourites.
He's getting all the one-liners. They're like when Levi left the room after Kirby was like, Levi, you're here. Oh my God, blah blah blah. She kind of wrapped her arms around him, and he was like, oh, I'm at work. Like, what are you doing? He looked quite uncomfortable, didn't he? And sort of went, I'll leave you to it because you've got visitors, and off he went. And she was like, oh, I had such a crush on him. And then Xander was like, yeah, we can tell, you don't say, kind of thing. Yeah. He's got all the one-liners at the moment. You're not the only one that said this as well, because a few people online on Twitter, I think it was David and Jen on Twitter, were saying that, didn't hate him, but he wasn't their favourite character. But now he's like one of the people on the show that we actually look forward to seeing a scene with him, because he is providing some of the good one-liners, I think, at the moment.
Yeah, you're probably right. But as well as that, I feel like we've talked a lot, haven't we, about him being a bit sensitive and a bit in tune, he's proper in tune with his feelings, but I feel like he's always about everybody else. And I think he's so selfless. Yeah. He's holding Salt together at the moment. He's there for his sister and her all those troubles all the time. He's never doing anything for himself. It's always somebody else, and then I get quite defensive of him when people have a go. Like later on this week, we're fast forwarding a bit here, but Levi ends up having a go at him. I'm getting defensive. Levi shouting at him on screen, and I'm thinking, leave Xander alone, man.
I know. I'm actually a bit worried about him, because I thought this is going to set him back, because the whole journey with Xander is that, like I said, he's come from being a bit damaged from being a paramedic, which obviously was weighing him down, and he just couldn't cope with. He was taking work home with him, wasn't he? He was taking the job home with him, which you can't do when you're in that kind of job. You have to switch it off, and you have to be a bit cold. And he's a bit too caring, a bit too sensitive to switch it off and keep that distance and whatever. And it was causing him heartbreak, really, wasn't it? Because he was taking things home with him, and he was getting upset when someone died. It wasn't, but he's come into his own. Like, since he's been working at Salt, he has come into his own, and he's starting to step up for himself. He's actually grown a bit of a backbone. When people have been a bit shitty with him, he's actually, instead of going all sorry and going into himself and being sensitive and taking it to heart, he's actually he's given as much as he gets, like with Flick recently, because Flick is a nightmare. Let's face it, a lot of the time she can be a nightmare. And I think a year ago, if he'd had those interactions with Flick, he would have backed down. He wouldn't have said anything to her. But he's been given as good as he gets
Yeah,
with her.
absolutely.
And I've been like, yeah, go on, because he's actually saying, I think, a lot of what we're thinking and what we're tweeting on the hashtag. He's actually saying for us, and it feels a bit like, yes, thank you for someone out there for saying what I think.
Yeah,
Xander's like the
you're
voice of
right.
the audience, isn't
Yeah,
he?
he's the vehicle for us in, isn't he? Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah. I think we've grown with him. I think that's why. I
yeah.
think we've grown with him, haven't we?
Mm.
Honestly, I think he's contender to be my favorite on the whole show right now, and that's a bold
Wow,
statement.
that
That
is a
is a
bold statement.
bold statement. Yeah.
Wow.
And this week cemented it, I think, for me.
Mm.
He's obviously there. He's at the hospital, and basically, long story short, we've all watched it. Let's get on with it. Max decided that after having spoken to Xander, I think he put his foot in it. And that's another thing about Xander. He's human. Like,
Yeah. He makes
not everything.
mistakes.
Yeah, not everything he says is is prepared, and he's mentioned basically, oh yeah, when I was in hospital, I couldn't wait to get out, and my recovery vastly improved when I got out of here.
Yeah,
So
but he
now
didn't have a heart attack, did he?
yeah, that's true. Now Mac is like, I need to get out
Yeah.
of here because that's being in here is making me feel all this stuff and this anxiousness we've just spoken about, and and all this panicky stuff. So she's adamant she wants to leave, and he still said, "Oh no, I didn't mean that. No, that's not."
Yeah, I think that's important to note that the first time she says to him, "I want to go home and I'm ready to go home," he goes, "Oh no, that's a bad idea. You need to stay in hospital." He doesn't jump on board immediately. He actually just tries to talk around, but then, like he said later in the episode, he knows Mac. He knows what. Once she's made her mind up, he can't say anything to change her mind. That's it. She's decided.
Yeah.
So that's why I felt like you when Levi had to go with him later in the week. I was thinking, well, he did actually try and talk around, but he realised that it was a losing battle. What didn't he? He didn't just go, "Oh yeah, go home, Mac. That's a great idea. You'll feel loads better." He went, "Oh, I don't think that's a good idea.
Yeah.
You should stay in hospital.
Yeah.
I didn't mean you. I meant me. I was just trying to be empathetic. I wasn't trying to spur you on to
exactly.
leave."
Yeah. But like you say, she's got it in her head. She's a strong, invincible woman. She's going home.
Woman. Yeah.
So she goes home, and it doesn't cure what she's feeling, does it? Like
No.
it's still happening. And at home, she takes a funny turn. And then there's all this guilt involved because she goes to bed and slips unconscious, and they all just think she's asleep. Marley as well is there. So they sort of delayed getting her help as well. So there's a bit of guilt thrown into this now, because they eventually sort of realise she's unconscious and call Triple O, don't they? So she's back at the hospital, and this is when Levi kicks off something wrong with Xander, and he's like, she's got another blood clot. If something happens to her, it is down to you. I told you she shouldn't be at home. She needed to be here, and this wouldn't have happened. And if anything happens to her, it is on you. And I'm thinking, you, mate, as beautiful as you are, you need to pipe down, because it wasn't Xander's decision to make. And what I love is that Xander just stood there in silence. He didn't kick off back. He didn't fight.
It's not in his nature.
He didn't defend himself. He stood there, and then he let him say what he had to say to him, and then he just walked off. And I thought that cemented it for me.
Yeah.
About the kind of person he is.
And he didn't even take the bait when Levi said, "Oh, where did you get your medical degree?" And at that point, I was expecting him to say, "Well, I was a paramedic. I'm not a complete idiot. I do know a little bit about what I'm talking about." And he didn't even defend himself, did he? He just went, "Okay, fine." And it was actually Dana that said to Levi, "Is a paramedic, right?"
Yeah.
She had to fight his corner, and I thought, "Oh, that's interesting," because I think it's another thing to show that he's not so self-centered, and he's not so self-absorbed, and he will take on board what someone else is saying, and he listens to respond. He doesn't just, no, that's the wrong way around. He listens to understand. He doesn't just listen to respond.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He listens to what someone has to say. He takes it on board. He thinks about it. He doesn't just go, "Yeah, well, I was a paramedic." You know what I mean? He doesn't just I think he's actually becoming a really interesting character.
He
Thank
is, isn't
God,
he?
because
Yeah, I know.
we've been
I know.
begging we've been begging for this for 2 years. Like, make him more interesting, for God's sake. And when you
Mhm.
compare him to Rose, I think he's miles ahead of her now.
Oh yeah. Oh, absolutely. I don't think we've spoken at length. I don't think Rosie's pairing with Maui helps, but
No, that's true.
yeah, whoever's writing for him and they've chosen to write him down this path have saved him as a character.
Mm,
Um, only last week we were saying, "What's his story? Where's this going? What's he done?"
yeah.
Like, and within a week we're like, "Okay, this is him. Like, I can see him now for what he is." Do you know what I
Yes.
mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. And I think
which is
I just hope they don't backtrack on this, because this is the start of something really good, I think, for him.
same. Let's
Mm.
see. Let's see. Levi, though, mate, not friends with you right now. Not friends with you at all.
Not even with the boys.
What? No, not even with the boys.
You wanted
And the
to read the
phone book.
phone book to you last week. You're
You can still
fickle.
do that. You can still, you can still do that. Right, Flick, she sees Harper and Tane boxing again, and you're thinking, oh, God,
Oh God.
back on the merry-go-round.
Yeah.
If looks could kill, I'll say. If looks could
Oh, oh, I know.
kill. I do
Even
love
I
pictures,
was
though.
nearly dead. I was like, oh God.
I
Yeah.
do love it when it gets a bit bitchy, though. It's good to watch.
It's entertaining for sure.
Yeah.
Although
Yeah,
I don't know how many of these boxing running, like, personal trainer sessions I can cope with. It's taking me back to Jasmine. You know, we used to absolutely die laughing because all she did was run down the beach and then go and get a coffee and go to work.
yeah. She ran to and from the diner. Yeah.
We were like, does she do anything but run? And now I feel like Harper's doing that. I'm like, does this girl, all she does is exercise and go for a coffee?
Well,
Come on.
she's trying to get laid, isn't she? All this
Uh,
boxing is going to stop the second they get in the sack, and it's going to happen.
Too much hard work. If you've got to box this much and get up at 6 a.m. to go boxing to get laid, I'm sorry, I'm too lazy to do that.
Oh no, just open. What
I
was
know
it?
it's Tane, but a bottle of wine would be quicker, surely.
What was it? Carl's got a blue box over in there.
Carl and Susan. Exactly.
Has she got a box? Box of
Get a bottle of
tricks.
cheap Savvy B and get him round your house. You don't need to be boxing at 6 a.m. before work. Jesus, it's too much effort.
And what does she do for work again, just in case you forgot?
I'm a social worker. She hasn't mentioned it for an hour. God.
Oh dear. Harper and Tane are tiptoeing around the bay for coffee, just thinking, oh god. And it's just awkward, right? And I was, you remember, for weeks I was like, can Tane and Felicity please talk? Like, I need this conversation. And you were like, no, he needs space. And I was like, we need to talk and move this story on. And we were a bit like, me and you were on different sort of sides, weren't we, with it for a few weeks?
Yeah.
We had a brief conversation, and then now it's happened since. He's just been sniffing. Well, Harper's been sniffing around him, should I say? We've got to watch him. It's a fine line because Harper's losing people, I've noticed.
Yeah.
With this, we've got to watch what we do here with her. You know, this could, you know, when you have new characters and you make judgments and all the rest of it. She's been here a few months now. The people aren't liking this, and you're messing with Tenacity. You don't want to be, you know, that's not going to come up. That's not going to go down well with the audience, love.
And actually, she was the more popular one out of the two sisters when they first appeared. You know, I was reading. Yeah. I was reading week after week comments from Your Say on the Bay, and people were saying, don't like Dana. She's a drama queen. She's acting like a spoilt brat. You know, Harper seems like the sensible one. You know, the praise was on Harper and all the judgment was on Dana. It's flipped now. If you look at social media, people are not happy with Harper.
And it's funny. It's because she's meddling with Tane.
Yeah.
Even though now it's happened, I mean, it is platonic, isn't it, at the moment?
At the moment, yeah.
It's what this tells you, though, that perception is everything. what it looks like. And this is exactly what Felicity's seeing when she sees unboxing in the morning at 6 a.m. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So everyone digs on Felicity, but she's only doing what we're all doing.
Yeah.
She's
Yeah.
jumping to conclusions, you know what I mean?
Mm.
Cash catches up with Tanya in the end, and even he's like, "Look, what's the crack? What's the crack here with with it all with Harper? Like, I've got Felicity here, and I've got to deal with it. I've got to live with her. Not in so many words. But Felicity's not happy about this. Feels like he's taking sides and all the rest of it. I was thinking, I can't keep having this same conversation. People, come on.
Yeah.
And Cash is right, though. He says to her, doesn't he? Look, it's none of your business who he sleeps with. I don't know what's going on with them, but if it's none of your business anyway, she needs these messages, I think, because it takes her a long time to listen to other people, as we know.
Yeah.
And Cash, bless him, he's got this going on with Felicity and her, and can't believe that you're talking to Cash and you're taking his side. She's also got Eden, his girlfriend, supposedly. You wouldn't know from how little time they spent together. She's on her side about the whole Levi thing and not speaking to her brother and childish, oh my God, our parents got divorced thing like the rest of the world. Like, the poor guy has got earache from all angles, and the unlikely person who bangs their heads together is blooming Remy. Would you have seen that coming?
I know. Do you know what? When you were saying about Xander being like your hero of the week this week, I think Cash is probably mine.
Really?
Yeah, I think Cash this week has just been so good, and we'll talk about Remy in a minute. But for me, like him saying to Eden, like, you and your long list of grudges, and you need to get over it, and him saying to Flick, you need to apologize to Harper and get over yourself, basically. I've just been like, yes, Cash. Again, like Xander, I feel like he's been saying the things that we're screaming at the TV. We're screaming and saying, Eden, just grow up and get over it. Just go and see your brother. For God's sake, it's been God knows how many years. It's not his fault that your dad cheated. It's not, it's not your fault. No, but you two didn't do anything wrong. And it shouldn't be you, versus each other. It should be you two versus your parents, because your dad's the one that's caused this problem. Your mum's the one that's probably facilitated the argument or whatever. We don't know this full story, but I feel like Cash is the only one saying, do you know what? You just need to get over this, and you've got a brother out there that wants to see you. Go and talk to him. And he's saying to Flick, none of your business what Tane's doing. It's none of your business. You're separated. You both done stuff wrong. And you just need to start moving on, and we need to concentrate on what we want to do. We need to sort out this lease. We've got stuff of our own to worry about. Let's leave Tane to it. And I've just been like, yes, Cash, yes.
Okay. Give the guy a cape.
I know, I know, right? I mean, I am a bit sort of. I'm not fully on board with Cash this week, because I do think he's dropping these truth bombs to everyone else, and I do think he's still hiding behind all of this drama and not dealing with his own shit.
Facing up to it. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
There's this backdrop, isn't there, of him not facing his own crap. Yeah.
He's still got his own crap to deal with, but he can bury his head in this crap for a week, and next week I want him to sort his own life out and take some of his own advice.
Right, Cash, if you're listening, you've had your warning.
Get on with it. Yeah.
Next week she wants to see it and she wants results.
I want results. But yeah, Remy, where did he come from?
I know, with his advice and his wisdom.
With his wisdom and him
biggest man-child going, and then like, whoa.
And he walked that scene, that Delulu scene where Flick and Eden are in the garden, and they're like, and Eden's like, you're not going to apologise to her. She's in the wrong. And she's like, yeah, I'm not going to apologise to her. She stole my husband. And then she's like, oh, you're not going to make friends with your brother because he's in the wrong. Yeah, I'm not going to make friends with my brother. And then they're both like, yeah, Cash is so wrong. Oh, Cash is such a dork. And then Remy's like, do you know what, ladies? Cash is out of his brain trying to help you two. And you're being so selfish. Do you even care about him? Do you even give a shit about your brother? Do you even give a shit about your boyfriend? And I thought, yes, Remy. Again, the voice of reason. All the men this week have really stepped up. I don't know if you've noticed.
Yeah, loving it. Absolutely loving it, of course. I love a
Of
man in
course.
power. Listen, the when when he asked that rhetorical question, like, do you even
Yeah,
love him or whatever? I thought,
yeah.
oh god, is this going to be some sort of? Oh, actually, I don't. You're right. I mustn't, type response.
Oh
I thought,
no.
oh.
I thought it was a flippant kind of, act like you love him. You're meant to be in love with him. Act like it.
And to be fair to her, then she goes, you know what? I've been a drongo,
Mm.
and she cancels whatever she was going to go off and do. No, he cancels, doesn't it? Because he was going to go and
See,
see
Gary,
Gabby.
I was
Yeah.
wanting to see that as well. I'm a bit upset about that. But never mind.
But they agree to stay together and they kiss and make up. And
Yeah.
Felicity embarks on this tour that we read loads about.
The apology tour.
The apology tour. Actually, I loved this.
Yeah,
I
it
don't know
was
about
good.
you.
Yeah.
And straight to Harper, and I thought, yes, come on,
Mhm.
girls, sort this out.
I was a
Straight
bit
to Harper.
dubious. I was a bit
I was,
dubious that she was only
yeah.
doing it because she wanted to get back in Cash's good books and she wanted to get back in Tane's good books. But actually, I don't know whether you feel this, but I feel like it was a genuine apology.
Yeah, this felt different. At the beginning, you're right, I was dubious because I thought as soon as she'll get apology out and then she'll go, so can you ask Tane to come and meet me? Or, do you know, like there'll be an ulterior motive like there normally
Yeah.
is.
Yes.
But you're right, it felt different. It was genuine. Harper, good to her credit, goes, yeah, but you didn't mean it. She's the same.
Mm.
She's exactly the
Yeah.
same as her. She's like, yeah,
Yeah.
I hear your apology, but you did not mean that.
Mm.
I'm not after your husband. We are friends, and I'll just see you around, I guess. So Harper was drawing a very clear line there. Like, I hear and accept your apology. I've set the record straight.
Yeah.
Me and you are not friends, is what I got from that conversation.
Yeah.
Which again doesn't really fill me with much love for Harper.
No, but I can sort of see where she's coming from. I don't hate her for that because she's putting up a boundary, isn't she? She's wary of Flick. Let's be honest, she's been told by multiple people that Flick is a nightmare and that she's a drama queen. Like Irene warned her and said, "You don't want to get involved with her. She could be a nightmare."
Yeah.
I think she's worried, isn't she? And at this stage, I don't blame her for handling Flick with a kind of a kid glove boundary setting.
Yeah,
kind of thing.
I guess I feel like it's a missed opportunity for her to hear the other side. I guess.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, there wasn't much dialogue, was there? Yeah.
No, and like all she knows is Tanya going, she bad, really, really bad.
Yeah.
And Felicity's not a bad person.
But she's heard it from multiple people. That's the thing. I think you can forgive that, can't you? Because if she's only heard Tane's version of events, and then she's heard from Rue, oh, Flick's a nightmare. From Irene, oh, Flick's a nightmare. You'd start to believe it, and you actually wouldn't want to give them. You wouldn't want to give her the time of day because you just think, well, is she just going to play me? Is she going to be a nightmare? Is she going to turn on me?
That's true. People's opinions are going to inform yours.
They are.
Why don't you make your own mind up? I don't know.
I think it's difficult when you've heard that much about someone.
And then, I mean, I think it's just because I'm Team Flick. But I said it out loud.
I'm Team Flick as well, but I can see it from Harper's point of view. I think I'd be wary of. I think I'd be scared of Flick if I'd only heard rumours about her.
Well, then Felicity, next stop on the tour is up at the farmhouse.
Oh, yeah.
And Max there trying to watch Fast and Furious or whatever with Tane. Oh no, they're playing Go Fish. That was it.
Oh yeah, that was it.
And she comes in, and what I loved about it was Tanya answers the door and thinks, "Oh, for God's sake!"
His eyes were like, "No, please, God,
but
no."
she's there for a friend, not to see him, and I love that. That was an after thing that Felicity came in, and it was about Mackenzie. You know, it was a bit awkward, but because Tane is just watching the whole conversation. But what you realise is Tane is remembering why he loves her. He's there in the back of the shot. This was shot so good. Like I'm getting goosebumps thinking about how it was shot. This is so sad. So we've got obviously left and right.
I've got them as well.
We've got left and right of the screen. You know, the two friends sort of apologizing and one of them just nearly died twice. You know, and then Tane's in the background looking and just absorbing, and you can see him realizing that like the feelings, he can't just shut them off, you know. And she's turning a corner, she's righting her wrongs, and I was just getting so giddy at this, Sophie. I was getting so giddy.
Oh, I know. It was a nice scene. I really like the fact that she wasn't very flick. She was, you know, she took it on the chin and she said, look, I've messed up here and I'm really, really sorry. And I did feel again that it was genuine. It wasn't, I think it was a bonus that Tane was in the back hearing it, but I don't think that's why she was there. I think she would have had that same conversation if you hadn't been at the farmhouse at that time.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. I needed to see this. I needed to see, because all week I've been like, Max being pandered to by Xander, Marley, Tane, and the big gaping hole, you know, apart from obviously Dean and her family, the people in the bay that she's closest to out of everybody, it's Flick, isn't it? And it's felt really strange that she's not been there. And not, you know what I mean? I know Flick's got her own stuff going on, so you know that, and they've had words, and you know she feels guilty, etc., etc. She didn't want to see Flick when she first came out of hospital, I guess, because she's feeling stressed and she doesn't want to exacerbate how she feels.
Well, there's this guilt as well from Flick's side of I caused her to have an heart attack. I was screaming.
Exactly. Yeah, and she needed to hear that it wasn't her fault, didn't she? She needs to hear that. Like when Max said to her, "You did not cause a tear in my heart." It was like a relief off her shoulder, wasn't it? It was like, oh, it wasn't. She doesn't blame me. She knows that this wasn't me. I didn't help the situation because I was being an absolute idiot, screaming at them and everything else. I didn't cause the tear, but I might have contributed towards the heart attack, I think, is where we're still at. But we needed to hear this. I think we needed to hear them have that heart to heart. I needed it. I'll be honest, I needed to see it.
Yeah. Oh God, it was so good, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So good. And on the way out, Felicity, she speaks to Tana, doesn't she? And she asks for that photograph back that she put in the box. Do you remember?
Yeah.
And he goes, "Oh, okay, I'll go and get it." So he gets to the post, and there's a brush of that.
Yes.
And the eyes lock, and you're like,
it's not over. It's not over. There's something. There's something there still. There's still something. Yeah. Because you don't hate someone that much and not still love them.
Fine line. There's a fine line, as they say.
Yeah.
Fine line. This was the moment, wasn't it, where you thought your stomach goes, doesn't it? You're like, oh.
It's not over. I think literally what I said. I turned to the dog and I went, "It's not over."
The dog's over. Like, really? The credits are rolling.
Get on with it, woman. Yeah. Where's my dinner? Oh. Right, Si, it's that time again. Are you ready?
Always ready for your say.
Your say on the bay time. Yeah, I've been doing it again. I've been digging through social medias, reading comments, looking at reactions.
Can't stop.
I can't stop myself. It's literally a compulsion. I'm out there every day reading everybody's comments. So yeah, I've been looking at comments online, and I'm going to read some out to Si, and we're going to react to what you guys are thinking about what's happened in the bay this week.
Yeah, and I've not seen much this week, really. So.
Oh, that's good. Okay, so this will be new information, hopefully. Before we do that, quick reminder: we are also on social medias. So Coastal News Podcast at Coastal News Pod, Facebook, Instagram, Threads, YouTube, Twitter, X, etc. You know where to find us. Come and find us, follow us, like, subscribe. We watch the show 6:30 p.m. Monday to Friday, 5-star here in the UK, and we tweet along and talk about what's happening on the show. So join in the discussion. Please do. Yeah, please do. We
love it.
We need your thoughts.
Fills in the void between pods.
It does. absolutely. We love talking about it as well on this segment every week. So you might just get your tweet or your Facebook comment read out next week on Your Say on the Bay. Now, I don't know whether it's this side. So when I'm looking for comments for this section, I go to Facebook, I go to Twitter, all sorts. But Facebook have got an official page, Home and Away UK page, that sort of posts things from the show, like it posts videos, pictures, memes, that kind of thing, and gets people commenting. So it's a really good place to go and have a look and see what people are thinking about storylines at the moment.
Yeah,
there were no comments, no posts at all for about 5 or 6 days on the Home and Away UK page. And what I was really interested in this week was the whole Leah mental health episode, where she's in the diner and she was holding the knife at Justin and she was saying, you can't take me to Vita Nova. I was waiting for them to upload a clip of this video of her doing this so that I could get all the comments and all the reactions of people, and they didn't. And I've been racking my brain all week. Why has there been radio silence on Facebook? For they've not shared. They're normally quite quick at sharing. We get 2 or 3 posts a day.
Well, now they're posting again, you mean?
They're posting again now. Yeah, but for like 4 or 5 days there was nothing. And I thought it's a bit strange because this was a really big episode with Leah, having this mental health breakdown, going off to the clinic. I thought for sure this would be a clip, but then I was like, maybe it's not been a clip because of the knife. Maybe they've not, they purposefully have not put this on their Facebook page because it's her holding a knife.
And because like when you're watching the show, when something like that, you have to sort of either, if you're on My5, you've got to tell it you're 16, haven't you?
Yes.
And if you get some sort of warning about it, don't you, if you're watching. So yeah, maybe is it like censorship for Facebook? How old are you if you?
Is it 13?
Is it 13 you can open Facebook, is it? So
I know it's 13 for Instagram, but I'd imagine it'd probably be the same for Facebook.
Probably the same then, yeah.
It's the same company, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. So maybe it's that, but I mean, if you can find me a 13-year-old on the Home and Away UK Facebook page, go for it.
There were no 13-year-olds watching this show, let's be honest. Yeah. Their mum and dad, absolutely. Their mum and dad, their uncle, their auntie, whoever, they're definitely watching.
Let's face it, that's how we all got hooked on these shows. So let's knock it. But yeah, you might be right. You might be right. There might have been a conscious decision. The cynical in me is a bit, it's a bit slapdash. Is someone on half term?
It could be that. It could be the posts just aren't there, but it just felt a bit strange because I was like, this is a really good storyline. We've had posts about things that are not as big recently.
That's true. Look, we've only started getting Facebook updates again from the Channel 5 Home and Away page now that Neighbours has gone off Channel 5. So look,
that's true.
You know what I mean?
The budget's been moved around. Yeah.
Yeah. Like when Neighbours came over, in what year was that? Like 2011 or something. And suddenly,
yeah.
Channel 5 social media
it went dead.
Stopped.
Yeah, it did. Yeah, absolutely. And we only started tweeting on that page last year, didn't we? So, yeah.
Don't worry, Channel 5. We'll upload it for you. Hey?
We'll do it for you. I was going to say that. You've segued there.
Ooh.
Brilliant segue into saying,
it's almost like we talk to each other constantly and we're the same person.
Well, we are. So, which one of us is Tyler Durden? I don't know. One of us is. But yeah, so Facebook page unfortunately didn't bother, but we did. We tweeted a video of this whole scene in the diner and Theo turning up and Bree turning up and everything else. So thankfully we've got our own comments on our video that we posted. So I can read some out to you. So to go over to Twitter then. So Jamie, we love Jamie. Jamie says Ada's been acting her arse off with her mental health storyline, and I absolutely agree. Couldn't agree more.
We said Ada and James, didn't we? On the earlier on in the episode, phenomenal.
Yeah. Really good, really good portrayal. Like you say, it can go either way, can't it? And I think they've done a really good job here. So credit where credit's due.
Yeah.
Bluebell Ivy on Twitter also says Leah's breakdown story is one of the best so far this year. Ada's portrayal of someone going through a breakdown is spot on.
Yes, thank you, Bluebell Ivy. This is so good. Like I said, in a week where other soaps have got the same thing playing out, comments
Yeah.
like that are a great testament to
Definitely,
this
and
show.
some of these other soaps have got much bigger audiences in the UK as well. So for us to get
Yeah.
these comments, it is really, really good. I think, like I say, credit where credit's due. Let's call it out and say it's been really good.
Yeah.
Sharon on Twitter also says, "What an incredible, powerful scene that was with Leah in the diner, and how it's broken Justin to see it, and what Leah thinks of him with the cult. Absolutely heartbreaking episode. At least Leah recognizes she needs to get help rather than being sectioned." And that's it, isn't it? It's another, she's realised for herself. We've not had to have that heartbreaking scene where you've had to talk someone around into going into the ambulance and going to hospital and everything. She's gone, I need help. I know she's recognised it. So really well done. Really, it's heartbreaking because she knows that. I think that's even worse, isn't it? When the character knows that they need help, it's almost worse.
Yeah, and this is a character
because they realise.
We've grown up with her.
Yeah,
this
absolutely.
is a character. She's been here 25 years. Like this isn't just someone that they're crazy, they're a nut job. Like this is somebody who we care about, right? Whether that be in a positive way or in an angry way or in even if you don't like her, you care, because she's been there so long.
And I think that echoes something that David said on Twitter. So David said, like, it's not on brand for Leah to do this. It's not on brand for Leah to break down, because we've seen her go through so much. Like you say, she's been on the show for 20 odd years. We've seen her go through so much. She's lost husbands. She's been kidnapped several times. She's been through stuff. She's been impaled. She's been in plane crashes and God knows what else. And nothing's broke her, and now we see her, and she's broken by this, and it is really sad to see.
It is.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think we need, like, I'll keep reiterating it. We needed it though.
Yes.
Because it's become a bit of a joke.
That she's indestructible.
Finally, something's got her. Thanks, Vita Nova.
This is the straw. Yeah, absolutely. Chad on Twitter said, Ada played this so well. Leah looks so small and so vulnerable. And yeah, she absolutely did, and she's played this really well. Like, we're so used to Leah being strong and just being like, no, it's fine, I'll just get on with it. Grin and bear it. Get over it quickly.
It's interesting as well because everyone's talking about Ada and her and the way she's done it. These actresses and actors that we can flippantly say, it's all Home and Away is a show about young people, right?
Yeah.
That whether those are school age in a bygone era or now when they're sort of 20, 30 something, it's a show about young people, and the older cast sort of anchor these young people's stories, don't they? But when these get material, boy, can they flex. Like Ada can do this just like she could when she was the young one with all the storylines, not that she doesn't have storylines, because she still gets a lot to do, but do you know what I'm trying to say? Like, it's not all, it doesn't always have to be the young hip one that's just arrived in the middle of it all. Like, she can do it as well, and she can do it damn good.
And we actually prefer that, don't we? When like Marilyn or Irene or John or Alf or Leah or Justin, one of the veterans gets a storyline, I think we actually appreciate it more because we're more invested with the character anyway, aren't we?
Yeah, there's more at stake because we've invested. I haven't watched them for 30 years for them to just throw it all away.
Just to have coffee at the diner every day and do nothing. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Which is our criticism of Rue, isn't it? Really, I mean, that's a character that's been on the show for a long time. And we feel like she does stagnate sometimes, and she doesn't get the big storylines. Obviously, she had the Stunning Organic one last year, but that has been a criticism for Rue, is that she doesn't really seem to have much going on a lot of the time, and it doesn't always have to be about, like you say, the newbie character.
Now you've mentioned it, do you mind? Have we got time for Rue briefly? I know you always shout at me for this.
I never shout at you.
Rue, not on air. people. Just so you know. I'm only kidding. I'm only kidding.
Painting me in a very bad light.
I'm only kidding. I think people know what we're like. Rue, character Rue, right?
Yeah.
She never. Why? What do you think it is? Why does she never seem to impact? She was right at the center of that whole Stunning Organics thing, and you wouldn't even think it if I was to recall now off the cuff things about that storyline. She ended up in a bomb, paralyzed, in a coma for months, couldn't walk, had all this trouble, this big feud with Maz, but that wouldn't be the first thing to my mind. What is it about her that doesn't seem to impact?
It's because of the way that she treats Marilyn, I think.
Purely that,
and she's not like this. I think it is. I think she's not like this with other characters. And I think we're so protective as a fandom. We're so protective of Marilyn.
Yeah.
That when anyone criticizes her, and let's be honest, Rue was pretty awful to her last year. Even though Rue went through something absolutely horrific, and if any other character had gone through that, I think we would have had more empathy. Because Rue was treating Marilyn so badly, it was like, well, it's you got your just desserts, and it's horrible. And I don't think Rue deserves it. I definitely don't think that Georgie Parker deserves it. I think Georgie Parker deserves more than what she gets a lot of the time. But there's just something about Rue that we don't. Yeah, she's cold.
I mean, she was like that as a teen, though. So it's a character trait.
It is, yeah. But I think I haven't always felt this way about Rue. When Rue was, came back from New York and she had like something about her. She was event planning. Even all that storyline with Harvey, when Harvey was not the best guy in the world anyway.
Oh, God,
he was a bit of a villain, wasn't he, really? But that whole storyline where she got a job, she got a purpose, she was doing those chartered boat rides with Harvey. I didn't hate her back then because she had something to her, and right now I think Rue.
Yeah.
She's a side character.
Yeah, true. Yeah. Give her a purpose. 2024.
I know. I've actually preferred her since she took. I didn't want her to take John's role because I don't want John to leave the Surf Club, but I've preferred her having John's job because she's had something more about her that wasn't just her being mean to Marilyn all the time. See what I mean? Get her having a purpose, her getting up and getting out of bed in the morning and going to work, and let's look at the Surf Club and let's see what we can do here, and like trying to get John's job back. So, doing something for someone else. When Rue does that, she's more likable.
She needs that event stuff back up and running. She
does, yeah. Maybe the Surf Club losing the sponsorship with Simon Henderson will spur her into.
Well, is she?
Action.
Yeah, I was about to say the same thing. Great minds. Will she spearhead some sort of fundraising?
I think we need to see it. We need to see her getting community minded and not just Rue minded.
Yeah.
We'll see. Anyway, segue.
Sorry.
Rue segue. What about Mac then discharging herself from hospital against doctor's advice? There was a few comments on Facebook about this, as you can imagine. So Henry on Facebook said, that idea always goes well. I could write this script. So I think Henry's basically saying, this is going to end in tears. We all
predictable.
Yeah. Kitty lightens the mood on Facebook. She said, if Levi was my doc, I'd not leave hospital until I was kicked out.
Preach.
I think she's also in the read the phone book to me kind of mindset. Yeah.
Me and Kitty would be removed by the police.
You would. AVO incoming. Definitely. Margaret says, Mac, you are so silly coming out of hospital, but I hope you get better soon. Sandra says, I wish that she would call her brother Dean, get him to come back. The heart attack was really bad and she shouldn't have discharged herself like that. Yeah. Rosie said, but she wouldn't listen, would she? And then roll the eyes emoji. Yeah, lots of people saying this. Andrew saying if she stayed in hospital, she might have ended up like Leah. I guess in mental breakdown, I think. Because, Mac was saying, like, it's crushing me being here and it's like, it's not helping me.
See. Right.
Yeah, I think it was that.
I don't know. I think Mac's storyline is more physical health.
It's
is what.
it's anxiety, isn't it, rather
Well, I
than
suppose that is
a
mental
mental.
health.
Yeah, yeah, but it's not psychosis. It's an
No, that's true.
anxiety about something
Yeah,
that's real,
yeah,
tangible.
she's
I've
not.
had a heart attack.
Yeah, she's not
That's
reached for the
that's
checkered
understandable.
flags. Yeah.
Not yet. Not yet. Kerry says she does my head in. She should listen to Xander. And then there was a little bit of a segue on this comment that Kerry gave. So Kerry said, listen to Xander. Debbie said, oh, they'd make a lovely couple, in replying to Kerry. And Kerry said, yeah, Mac is slowly turning into Ziggy with her double standards. She needs someone like Xander to keep her in check. I'm not sure how I feel about that. Made me vomit
Now
a
then,
bit.
I've not really thought about that.
It made me vomit because I don't like the idea of a man keeping a woman in check. That does make me
Yeah.
vomit a little bit.
But also, that's never even entered my
Xander and
cranium
Mac.
at any time.
Yeah.
I don't know, because the kind of men that Matt goes for, not, I don't know, I'm thinking like, she goes for a proper Aussie blokes, doesn't she? Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, she does.
you know what I'm trying to say? Like,
Yeah.
Xander's a bit too wishy-washy, a bit too.
He's the BFF, isn't he? He's friend zoned. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna shut up before I get in trouble.
I don't think there's a sexy thing though. I think it's a friendship thing, isn't it? And also, he works for her.
Well, that's true. There is a professional obligation, isn't there?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. That would be not cool. That stock room, no, thank you. We don't want any of that.
Actually, no, so the stock room, I'm into it. Yes, that's hot. Yes, stockroom sex is hot. Oh, I'm on record.
If those bones could talk.
Yeah, I know, right? So lots of people saying the same thing. She shouldn't have left hospital. I mean, we know now. This was a few days ago. We know now that she definitely shouldn't have left hospital. Yeah. It was a bad decision, and she should have stayed. But this was a few days ago from these comments. About Eden and her long list of grudges that we've been told about several times this week. Eden holds a grudge. Eden's got a long list of grudges, etc., etc. This has been sort of something that we've been notified of several times this week.
Right, okay.
So Jackie on Facebook says Eden's lazy and she's a user. She doesn't work, but she always manages to have a beer in her hand. I was like, I can't argue with that, actually.
Yeah, there's always a 6-pack in the fridge, isn't there?
She's always like, do you want a beer? I like giving them out to other people, and I'm like, yeah, where does she get the money from? Because she doesn't work. She doesn't even busk like Remy does. She doesn't do anything, does she?
The finances surrounding the band are sketchy at best.
It's very sketchy. Yeah. But there's a lot of people turning on Eden at the moment. So Karen, oh no, this sounds like a joke. Karen on Facebook says,
"Get the manager."
Get the manager. I need to complain because Eden needs to be knocked down a peg or two because she acts like a child. Now I can't disagree. I'll be honest. Like, I know we've said for a while. I was on board with the band for ages. I was on board with the band for longer than most people until I sort of fell off that bandwagon. And because of and I was in favor of Eden, I was in favor of Remy. I didn't really love Kirby as much as the other two, and now I've fallen off the bandwagon, I'll be honest, and I don't love Eden as much as I did because they've kind of taken her away from what she was in the beginning. I think I can't really argue with any of these negative comments about Eden. She is coming across as a bit of a lazy, childish person.
I've not changed my. Gosh, you've blindsided me here. So I have, because you and I have been proper team Eden together, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I've not really changed my mind on. Yeah, she's winding me up. I've not really changed my mind on her, but I don't really understand this insane. She seems to be the only person with this insane grudge about her parents' divorce.
Yeah.
Like, her mum's talking to Levi.
Yeah.
So, and I said to you, didn't I? Like, I can't imagine I said it on the podcast a few weeks ago. My parents divorced when I was like 8. I cannot imagine, and you hear things when you're growing up, your teens, and you take signs and you have your moments, don't you? But
Yeah.
like, I can't imagine years down the line as grown adults to still be in that space. So I could understand the juvenile comments from that,
Yeah.
because that's like you're stuck in the past. Grow up,
Yeah.
So I'm getting frustrated with her for that. I don't understand that as a grown
No.
adult myself, why you would still be thinking like that. But that's because the other part of my brain is like, there's something else at play here, and we don't know it yet. It can't possibly just be that, because it's so ludicrous. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So what else is going on? And and especially now I've seen Levi's temper towards Xander, I'm starting to wonder whether there's something else going on.
I hadn't got that. I hadn't got there. Yeah, I can see it now. Now you've explained it. You're right. There could be something else that I'm not seeing. But at the moment, I'll be honest, I was getting really fed up with Eden. I was just thinking, a couple of weeks ago, I was like, okay, she's holding this grudge, but it's loyalty for her mum. She's on mum's side, team mum versus dad. And then the minute we found out that actually mum is okay with Levi, they've been in contact, but it's still Eden holding the grudge. And then I was like, no, I'm done, because she's acting like a drama queen towards Cash. She's acting like a drama queen towards Levi. She's she doesn't work. She doesn't put a shift in. She is starting to look a little bit entitled. And I was getting a bit fed up with her, and I was thinking there was so much potential here. And I loved her so much when she first came into the show, because I thought she was a certain way that I related to. And now I feel like she's gone away from that, and I'm getting annoyed with her, because I'm like, just grow up.
Yeah. And I can see that. I can absolutely see it. I'm listening to your points. I'm thinking, I can see it. And on top of all that, she then starts treating her boyfriend like shit. Do you know what I mean? So okay, yeah.
And she's got it really good, really. I mean, she's got a good group of people around her. And Cash, we have in the past, we've knocked Cash, but I think Cash has really stepped up, and he's really been there for her. And he has put up with a lot with her and with Flick, and let them get away with so much more than I would have got away. If she was my friend, I'd have been like, book your ideas way before he said it. And it's only this week that he's gone, do you know what? Just make up with your brother, because life is too short, and it's not his fault what your dad did. And he's right. I can't argue with him. So I can see why people are getting it, because I feel like the same as Karen, that she needs to be brought down a peg, because she is acting like a child. I can't disagree with Karen there.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, I hear you. If there's nothing else going on, you've got me.
If there's something else going on, we'll put a pin in that, and we'll come back to it definitely, because I'm interested.
Yeah.
But I hadn't really thought of that. I'll be honest, I'm taking it on face value a bit, like, okay, mum's not got a problem, so Eden, do you know what? You need to get over it. That's where I am right now. Yeah. I think. But there were lots of comments like this. So Kerry said, Eden is a drama queen and she needs to go over it. So lots and lots of people were sort of saying the same thing on Facebook about Eden. So I think, you've put some thoughts in my head now. So I'm going to think about whether she might have a point about Levi and maybe the stuff that we don't know. Because like you say, with this week, we've only ever seen him being like Mr. Good, Mr. Perfect Doctor, Mr. Superhero Doctor that's helped Mac. And this week we saw him literally shove Xander.
Yeah, move. Yeah,
which is
nasty.
Not a professional. That's not. He might be a doctor and he might be invested in his patient, and he might have, I can see it would be really annoying. He's saved this person's life. He's given them heart surgery after a heart attack, brought them back to life. He's told them the best place for you to be is in hospital, and they've discharged themselves because he thinks Xander's talked them round. I can see his point of view, but shoving somebody because you're angry.
Is that an excuse for unprofessionalism? I don't think so.
It's not. I don't think it is.
Dana's clocked it. got it. She's got his mark. Something's not. I wouldn't be surprised if it doesn't come out that he's, violent or something happened
Some
when
kind
they
of
were
anger
a teen.
management.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would not be surprised if something like that happens, and that is why she feels so strongly.
Yeah.
All these years later, we
Yeah.
might learn more about Father, and we might, and why is it that he went with Father? What's gone on here?
Mm.
I don't know.
Mm.
But I feel like the mask has slipped with
Yes.
Levi yesterday, and I think he sort of showed us a bit of his true colours.
Mm.
Yes, you're right. He was angry. It was frustrating. It could have been prevented, but ultimately, like, this is your job. So
Yeah. And he shoved somebody, and it's just not professional, is it? It's just not.
and he's screaming
Very.
at people in the middle of
Yeah.
the hospital ward. But I'm sorry, that's
Mm.
not a doctor. That's not a surgeon. The way a surgeon behaves.
No, especially a heart surgeon. Everything he does is life or death. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
He's a heart surgeon. You have to be able to handle that kind of stressful situation. It feels really out of character for a heart surgeon to act that way
Yeah.
and be that
Something's up here.
emotional. Yeah, there's something
Mm.
extra going on, isn't there? We don't know what it is yet. Yeah, absolutely. We'll come back to it. And then the last thing we've got for Your Sound the Bay is, the other day, Jamie on Twitter put a little tweet out and said, stop spoiling the cliffhanger with the next time giving it all away. Because we
Started something here.
started a bit of a conversation. So on the UK version of Home and Away, for anybody that's international or doesn't know this, we get the episode playing out. The last scene of the episode or the last line of the episode happens, and then we see like a title card that pops up. It says Home and Away on screen for literally a second. It's not very long, and then it goes straight into what we call the trailer or the first look for next episode, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And it shows you, like, I think it's up to a minute, sometimes 30 seconds of what's going to happen in the next episode. We see that, and then we see the credits, don't we, at the end? So if I've done this before, where if you're not looking at the screen at the time when the title card Home and Away text comes up, it goes straight into the trailer, and you might not realize you're watching the trailer at first, and you kind of go, oh, this is tomorrow. Oh no, I don't want to see this. And it sometimes the trailer gives away too much. Too much.
Sometimes it completely 3 seconds after the big cliffhanger completely undoes it.
Yeah, because the cliffhanger might be somebody's dying, flatlining on a, like, I'm going to be really, really facetious and do something really, out. You might see someone flatlining on a bed in hospital, and the heart monitor's going, wee! And then in the cliffhanger, which is literally 2 or 3 seconds later, you see them being brought back to life. You see the defibrillator come out. You see them being sitting up in bed, talking to the relatives, and you're like, oh, so for a second you're like, oh, and then you're like, oh, they don't die, okay, and then it's a little bit of I don't know what to say. It's an anticlimax, isn't it? Let's be honest. It is an anticlimax sometimes. It's not always like that. Sometimes the trailer, the first look, isn't that. It's still a little bit cryptic. You still don't really know what's going to happen. But sometimes it does ruin it. So I think this is what Jamie was saying, that sometimes a cliffhanger, there's a cliffhanger, but there's no peril, because immediately we see that there's no peril. So I did ask a question on Twitter, and I did say, does anybody else feel like this? Let's talk about it. So, I said, would it be better if there was no trailer, if there was just a teaser? Is it the fact that sometimes we see exactly what's going to happen next, and it just takes all that peril away? So we had a few comments on this. So Julie said, I hate it. They practically show you everything that's going to happen. I'd rather just wait until the next episode. And David says, at UK pace, avoiding spoilers is hard enough already, and the teaser just defeats the whole point of a cliffhanger. And I can see the argument for this.
So I completely concur. However, that is all. You can flip that on its head, and the same reason could be why the teaser doesn't really matter, because it's Home and Away, we're so far behind. We're like 6-7 weeks behind Australia.
Yeah.
This since doing the podcast, which has been, we're in our 4th year now, so it's been a long time, right?
Yeah.
But like, there's very little I've not sort of come across before, and if we haven't, and it's a genuine surprise, we'll say it on the podcast, won't we?
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
there's very little we end up finding out in the UK ahead of time because of
Yeah.
the spoilers and what comes out, and we're on all the social media because of the podcast. Whereas in the past, I would have stayed away from it because I was just a regular old viewer, you know, and I
Yeah.
could just mute everything and not look.
Yeah.
But because of this role on the podcast now, I've got to be there, so I'm seeing things that I wouldn't have done. So therefore, the annoyance of the previews at the end has waned a bit for me, because I'm like, you know, well, I sort of know anyway, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you can flip that, or you can look at that 2 ways, you know. Yeah, you can't avoid the spoilers, so don't do it. It's hard enough as it is. Or you can say, well, yeah, I'm going to find out anyway, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Crack on.
Yeah. I suppose we might be slightly different to other people because we do, like you say, we can't avoid so many of the spoilers, because I am looking on the hashtag all the time, looking for comments on Your Sin the Bay, and occasionally I will see something and I'm like, oh no. And sometimes I manage to do that thing where I go, don't remember, and I do genuinely forget some of the stuff I've read. And sometimes it doesn't leave me because I'm like, I've seen that now, and that spoiled it for me, and I know it's coming up. So I think
we live in this world now, don't we, where everyone wants to know more, wants to know.
Yeah.
We've got all this stuff and we want an extra piece, you know. I don't know. People have got an option. They can't, if you're on it and you know it's coming, like,
you have to be on it though. You have to.
Yeah,
I do agree that it is quite quick, and it can be seconds or even a second between the last line and the next trailer.
I don't know about you. I've been watching this show so much. I pick the remote up to forward the ads before it's happening because I know it's coming. I know there's an ad coming.
I think we watch this differently to other people. I'll be honest.
I've already picked the remote up 5 seconds before the advert's coming because I know it's going to happen. We've got the fade to black.
I know. I think we do genuinely watch this show differently to other people as well. That if I wasn't on the podcast, I think I would be less, aware, analysing.
Yeah, I tell you what, if they got rid of him tomorrow and gave us the full, because I'm going to sit through that. I'm going to sit through it all, even if I don't want to watch it, because I want to have a sing-song at the end to the theme tune.
You know we belong together. Yeah, exactly. I need to hear that, or else it's not over.
Right to the very end, and then at the very end, I finish the Home and Away bit, and then my husband goes 7.
I'm not flicking over to Hollyoaks until I've seen the end of the credits. I'm sorry. I don't care if I'm late to Hollyoaks. I'm watching to the end of the credits. Yeah, I'm the same.
So if you want to get rid of the preview and do the full 1-minute version of the theme song, please. Even if it's just for us international viewers, because they don't get the theme song in Australia anyway. So just give us.
That's true. Yeah, I'm going to talk about that in a moment. We'll just talk about a few other comments first about what people are saying, and then I'll come. If you're saying that, I was
keep talking about. I was saying.
No, it's fine. We've got opinions as well. So Joe Lauren on Twitter, I don't mind a trailer, but they should definitely be teasers rather than outright running the cliffhanger. I think everyone's saying this. They don't mind it being a trailer. They don't mind seeing what's coming up, but they just don't.
Content.
I think if it looks like someone's in genuine peril, we don't want to know 2 seconds later that they're actually not in any peril at all. I think we want
to come back tomorrow.
Yeah, it just needs to be a little flavor of I want to watch that. I want to come back and watch that tomorrow. Not like, I don't need to watch it because I've just seen how it ends. Yeah. I think that's what people are saying. Yeah. Stephen on Twitter said, just show a small snippet, a hint. The amounts of times they've showed the cliffhanger for the following episode in the coming up part is irritating. So again, everybody's just saying this. Chad's saying it as well. Don't mind a teaser when it's just that, but revealing the outcome is just too much, and I usually switch off before then. So Chad's already worked out that he needs to switch it off before it happens. Jill says she's 50-50. Too much in the trailers. Not sure whether I want to see them or not. I want to see a little teaser, but not a spoiler. So everyone's kind of saying the same thing, really.
Yeah.
I did put a poll on Instagram, because on Twitter it's quite easy to have a dialogue, isn't it, and get people's actual opinions. But on Instagram it's quite hard to get a discussion going. So I put a poll on one of our stories on Instagram, and I just said 3 options: keep the trailer as it is, get rid of the trailer, or keep the trailer but make it teasers, not spoilers. Now, 68% of people, 68. I said that again.
Did you hide this from me?
No.
You see this? This has escaped me. Go
Well,
on.
you obviously have been watching our socials
Not
closely. It was
clearly.
Tuesday night, sorry. Tuesday night on Instagram, I put a poll on, and I said, would you keep the trailer? 68% of people said keep the trailer as it is.
Oh, right. So a load of tosh then, really. All these
Different to
comments.
Twitter. Twitter was 100%. I want the trailer, but no
Right.
teasers, not
Okay.
spoilers.
So here we go. The audio. Right. Okay. We're going to open a right kind of worms here. We've been going 5 minutes on your saying about. So Instagram is a different demographic.
Yes.
I feel like there's a really all the young and all the the young. This is no offense to any of our Twitter followers. There's a lot of stan accounts and a lot of younger people over on Instagram.
Yeah, and they follow us on Instagram.
Interesting that they want different things. I would say over on Twitter, X, etc. What you want to call it, we're all plus a longer term viewers on there, aren't we? More or less.
Yes. Yeah. I think there's the Home and Away long term fans on Twitter. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm including myself in that bracket. I'm trying to think. I don't want to be called old. You know what I mean? I am old, but I don't want to admit that I'm old. I'm a long-term fan. I'm not an old fan.
Long-term fan, and it's funny how we have different. Because some of those people that we have on Instagram, they don't remember the show when it didn't have previews and trailers and credit squeezes.
They don't remember the fish. They don't remember the fish on Instagram.
They don't remember the fish. We had verse 1 for a minute going in, verse 2 going out.
I know, right? They don't remember the bloody fish. You know what I mean?
Forever.
Don't know
Some of
those.
Exactly. So, I mean, it's good that the show still attracts.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Reviews.
Yeah.
But they're not on Twitter.
Yeah, it's interesting. So 68% said keep the trailer as it is. 5% on Instagram said get rid of the trailer completely. And then 26% said keep the trailer, but make it teasers, not spoilers, which is what Twitter was.
100%.
100% of people on Twitter were saying, keep the trailer, but make it not spoilers. Whereas only 26% of the vote on Instagram was for that option. So it is interesting. And do you know what? This also sparked a conversation I had with Marty. Do you remember Marty, friend of the pod, first assistant editor on Home and Away, everybody? So our favourite person on the pod. So obviously I put this, even though you didn't see this poll that I put on.
Where was this poll?
It was on our stories on Tuesday. Even though you didn't see it, Marty, bless him, he did see it. He voted, and he also commented on as well. He sent me a DM, and he said, from what I gather, you guys get the full credits over the stock shots, and then you get the teaser. So surely that gives enough time for people to switch off who don't want to see it. And I said, actually, Marty, no, that's not what happens. We get the credits after the teaser. We get the last line. We get the Home and Away text for a second. Then we get the teaser, and then we get the full credits, because this is different to what other people get. So in Australia, they get the teaser at the end, and they get they don't have the credits we get are like the full credits on screen, and then we've got the stock shots over the background. What they get is they get the teaser playing out, and they get the credits playing out underneath. So by looking at it that it's the end credits. And it's the teaser, and you can switch off. It's quite easy to spot. Okay, this is tomorrow's episode that I'm seeing now, because the credits are playing out at the bottom of the screen, so it's quite different. And Marty says it's quite interesting because what they do is they just send all the elements separately, and then it's up to the network, whichever country that's in. So obviously Channel 5 have decided to play it out the way that they play it out, and it might be different in Norway, it might be different in one of the other countries that Home and Away plays in, and this is what we get. So it's different to what Australia get.
Interesting. Yeah, I don't like the Australia one.
It's
because I
weird.
feel the
Yeah.
credits are really fast, and you're not looking at the credits. You're watching the teaser trailer.
Yeah.
And it's really fast. Like,
And it's not the song.
It's not the song.
We get the
song.
credits. We get the credits with the theme tune, and they get the credits along the bottom of the trailer. So they see what's going to happen next, and that's the audio, and that's what you're viewing. But then at the bottom of the screen, it's got the trailer. They don't get the end song. They don't get the sing along like we do.
Which is criminal. It's. I mean, you don't even watch the show. People know that song everywhere.
Yeah.
Like, and I look forward to it. But the new version warmed on me eventually. I say new, it's like 4 years old now. But yeah, being facetious here, I think it diminishes the good work of all these people. Like on our version, the international version, let's call it, you've got time to have a look who's written it and who's directed it and all the rest of it. On the Australian version, it just goes really fast. Hold me in your